Hey, welcome to Sunday, Inktober. Good to see you today. Happy Sunday. So I'm late today, and it's kind of, I'm looking at this and I'm not talking in a religious way. I look at this as a divine intervention in like a mystical kind of a way, because I was researching Florence Marriott, who was today's, I'm trying to get my chair to go down, researching Florence Marriott, who was today's author. And I was really excited to do her because she had some interesting, drama in her life, and some interesting looking stories, literature. But I discovered that one of her books, probably her most popular book, Blood of the Vampire, had elements, even though the lead character is a mixed race woman who's a vampire, there are racist elements. There's racist language in the book. And it was really hard to sort of dig this up. I just sort of followed a thread and found out some stuff. And then when I read a passage, it was like absolutely no, we're not doing her. So because I have been lamenting my lack, this was like a perfect opportunity to find an African-American or woman of color or woman of, multicultural woman writer from the 18th or 19th century to add into the mix. So that's what I did. And I'm really excited to do Frances Harper today. And she's not specifically a Gothic author, but her most popular or most famous novel, one of the first novels published by an African-American woman, published in 1892, and it has elements of Gothic. So Frances Harper, I'm going to read you a little bit from Google AI overview, because this is what I could find to connect it to Gothic. So I looked up, what I Googled to discover women who were not white, who were, multicultural women who did Gothic writing in the 18th and 19th centuries. Not easy to find, so you have to kind of get a little creative with your Google searches. And she came up on a book, or within a book, called, I'm going to show you, where's the book? This book, Six Fascinating African-American Women Writers of the 19th Century. And this led me to this, or vice versa, Project Muse, Gothic Passages, Racial Ambiguity in the American Gothic. So I don't remember which came first, but I think the other one came first. But anyway, that's beside the point. I discovered Frances Harper, and it was like I had 15 minutes left to decide who to pick. And I thought, this is great. Let's do Frances Harper. I'm super excited to learn about her. She's had an amazing life. So let's learn about her and read about her and do a quote by her. And I already think I have my quote because she has so many good ones. On quotations by women, there is plenty here. There's a great one, and this is actually very goth. Intense love is often akin to intense suffering. Excellent. For the theme, it doesn't even have to be in the theme even. This was great, and I could totally get a picture of what I would do for this. She was also a poet, or she was primarily a poet, I think. So, from my 10 minutes of research. So, That's where the slash, that's a poem. He's not dead, he only left a precious robe of clay behind to draw a robe of love and light around his disembodied mind. I picture one of those heads that I could write this poem into, like with the silhouette. You know the head I'm talking about, the phrenology, I think. That would be a good idea. That was like something that stuck in my head. So let us learn about this incredible woman who has had an amazing life. Frances Ellen Watkins Harper. Let's do this. Okay. This is Wikipedia. So thank you, Wikipedia. We love you. Frances Ellen Watkins Harper. Frances is spelled Frances. Born September 24, 1825, and she died February 22, 1911. She was 85 years old when she died. She was an American abolitionist, suffragist, poet, temperance activist, teacher, public speaker, and writer. I don't know what a temperance activist is, so I want to see. Temperance movement is a social movement promoting temperance or total abstinence from consumption of alcoholic beverages. Okay, so she was a non-drinker, teetotaler, an activist. Beginning in 1845, she was one of the first African-American women to be published in the United States. Born free in Baltimore, Maryland. That's amazing. That's great. And that was like, 1825. Yeah. She had a long and prolific career, publishing her first book of poetry at the age of 20. At 67, she published her widely read novel, Lola Leroy. I believe that's how you pronounce it. That 2 L's in Lola are lowercase. I'm going to click into this. Actually, I have the Wikipedia page open, but I just want to make sure that I'm saying it right. Lola Leroy. Yeah. When I typed it in, I typed in 2 L's. So, and it's also called Shadows Uplifted. That's another name for the novel. So I'm just going to make sure that you guys can hear me real quick. So let me just check. Hey, Roblox. Hold on a second. Hey. Yep. Okay, you can hear me. Yay. Roblox, we are doing Frances Harper today instead of what our scheduled author was, because I found some racist elements in her work. So we are switching gears and we are shining some light on Frances Harper. Okay. Frances Harper. Did I read this already? I think I did. Let's go back to our Wikipedia page. Okay. Born free in Baltimore, Maryland, Harper had a long and prolific career, publishing her first book of poetry at the age of 20. At 67, she published her widely read novel. 67! Wow! Hey, it's never too late, everybody. That's great. Lola Leroy, 1892, placing her among the first Black women to publish a novel. As a young woman in 1850, Harper taught domestic science at Union Seminary in Columbus, Ohio, a school affiliated with the African Methodist Episcopal Church. In 1851, while living with the family of William Still, a clerk at the Pennsylvania Abolition Society who helped refugee slaves make their way along the Underground Railroad, Harper started to write anti-slavery literature. After joining the American Anti-Slavery Society in 1853, Harper began her career as a public speaker and political activist. You go. 1825, and she started doing that in 1853. So was she 1825, 1850? So she was 28 when she started being a public speaker and political activist. Harper also had a successful literary career. Her collection, Poems on Miscellaneous Subjects, sounds like something I would do. Miscellaneous subject. 1854 was a commercial success, making her the most popular African-American poet before Paul Laurence Dunbar. Her short story, Two Offers, was published in the Anglo-African in 1859, making literary history as the first short story published by a Black woman. Harper founded, supported, and held high office in several national progressive organizations. In 1886, she became superintendent of the colored section of the Philadelphia and Pennsylvania Women's Christian Temperance Union. In 1896, she helped found the National Association of Colored Women and served as its vice president. I'm going to move around my desk just slightly here. I'm going to move this up here, and I'm going to move this here, and I'm just going to make sure that the light's up all the way. Okay. That's a little better. Okay. Oh, let me quickly just plug my phone in to make sure that I don't run out of any juice here. Excuse me if I make a little bump. There we go. Okay. All right. Let's move forward here. I better move my glass, my mug. I don't want to break anything. Okay. Let's see. Where were we? Okay, we were right here. Harper died at age 85 on February 22, 1911. Early life and work. Hold on. Let's look, because she's got a lot of information here. So let's go to this stuff. I mean, so much of this is very newsworthy and interesting and, fascinating. So it's going to be hard to... judiciously, edit here. Okay, let's see. Frances Ellen Watkins. Frances Ellen Watkins. I said Watkins. It's not Watkins, it's Watkins. Was born free on September 24, 1825 in Baltimore, Maryland, then a slave state. The only child of free parents. Her parents, whose names are unknown, both died in 1828. That's so sad. That's so sad. Making Watkins an orphan at the age of 3. She was raised by her maternal aunt and uncle, Henrietta and Reverend William J. Watkins Sr., who gave her their last name. Well, that's good. I'm glad that she had a good aunt and uncle who loved her and took care of her. Frances Watkins' uncle was the minister at the Sharp Street African Methodist Episcopal Church. Watkins was educated at the Watkins Academy for Negro Youth, which her uncle had established in 1820. Oh, that's awesome. Her uncle established it. As a civil rights activist and abolitionist, Reverend Watkins was a major influence on his niece's life and work. That's amazing. At 13, Watkins became employed as a seamstress and nursemaid for a white family that owned a bookshop. She stopped attending school, but used her spare time to read from the books in the shop and work on her own writing. In 1850, at age 26, Watkins moved from Baltimore to teach domestic science at Union Seminary, an AME-affiliated school for Black students near Columbus, Ohio. AME is African Methodist Episcopal Church. We knew that because 5 minutes ago. She worked as the school's first female teacher. Well, she's a lot of firsts, isn't she? Union closed in 1863 when the AME Church diverted its funds to purchase Wilberforce University, the first Black-owned and operated college. The school in Wilberforce was run by the Reverend John Mifflin Brown, later a bishop in the AME Church. This is all confusing though, right? The following year, Watkins took a position at a school in York, Pennsylvania. Her writing career. Harper's writing career started in 1839 when she published pieces in anti-slavery journals. Her politics and writing informed each other. Her writing career started 20 years before she was married, so several of her works were published under her maiden name of Watkins. Harper published her first volume of verse, Forest Leaves, or Autumn Leaves, in 1845 when she was 20 years old. This book marked her as an important abolitionist voice. A single copy of this volume, long lost, was rediscovered in the early 21st century by scholar Johanna Ortner in Baltimore at the Maryland Historical Society in the 2010s. Her second book, Poems on Miscellaneous Subjects, 1854, was extremely popular. Over the next few years, it was reprinted several times. In 1858, Harper refused to give up her seat on a ride in the colored section of a segregated trolley car in Philadelphia, 97 years before Rosa Parks. In the same year, she published her poem, Bury Me in a Free Land, in the Anti-Slavery Bugle, which became one of her best-known works. In 1859, Harper's story, The Two Offers, was published in the Anglo-African newspaper, making her the first Black woman to publish a short story. She's a lot of firsts. That same year, I can't believe she's not more well known. That same year, actually, I can. That same year, Anglo-African magazine published her essay, Our Greatest Want, in which Harper linked the common religious trope of oppression of African Americans to the oppression of the Hebrew people while enslaved in Egypt. Anglo-African magazine and the weekly Anglo-African newspaper were both Civil War-era periodicals that served as a forum for debate among abolitionists and scholars. Harper published 80 poems. In her poem, okay, hold on. Okay, we're looking at some of her. I'm just trying to edit because, you know, we're gonna run into time issues here. Okay, let's go here. Harper published 80 poems, and then it talks about her poem Slave Mother, including themes of family, motherhood, humanity, and slavery. Another of her poems, To the Cleveland Union Savers, published in the Anti-Slavery Bugle of February 23, 1861, champions Sarah Lucy Bagby, the last person in the United States to be returned to slavery under the Fugitive Slave Law. Sorry, I'm tripping over my tongue right now. Harper published Sketches of Southern Life in 1872. This anthology detailed her experience touring the southern United States and meeting newly freed Black people. In these poems, she described the harsh living conditions faced by a Black woman during both slavery and the Reconstruction era. Let's just click in to just see what the Reconstruction era is, if it will go. My Wikipedia. Okay. The Reconstruction era was a period of U.S. history that followed the American Civil War, 1861 to 1865, and was dominated by the legal, social, and political challenges of the abolition of slavery and the reintegration of the former Confederate states into the United States. Wow. This is all so... It's devastating to read that happened, but it's also so timely with today. So it's just like head spinning stuff. Okay. Harper uses the figure of a former slave called Aunt Chloe as a narrator in several of these sketches. From 1868 to 1888, Harper had 3 novels serialized in a Christian magazine: Minnie's Sacrifice, Sowing and Reaping, and Trial and Triumph. Harper is known for what is long considered her first novel, Lola Leroy, or Shadows Uplifted, published as a book in 1892 when she was 67 years old. This is one of the first books published by a Black woman in the United States. While using the conventions of the time, Harper dealt with serious social issues, including education for women, the social passing as white of mixed-race people, miscegenation. I'm going to look that up. Miscegenation is marriage or admixture between people who are members of different races or ethnicities. Long-term genetic and cultural admixture has been a widespread feature of human populations across much of the world, while only a few geographically or culturally isolated regions show limited historical intermixing. Historically, it has been sometimes subject to controversy or legal prohibition, typically in societies with strict racial ethnic separation, hierarchical social structures, or cultural conservationism. Adjectives describing miscegenation. Miscegenation, this is a new word to me, include interethnic, mixed race, multi-ethnic, multiracial, racial, and interracial. Okay, so we know what it is. That's good. Okay, just checking everything, making sure that you can see my iPad. All right. Where were we? Down here. Okay, Harper dealt with serious social issues, including education for women, the social passing as white of mixed race people, miscegenation, abolition, reconstruction, temperance, and social responsibility. Remember, temperance is teetotaling, not drinking, no alcohol. Harper was also a friend and mentor to many other African American writers and journalists, including Mary Shad Carey, Ida B. Wells, Victoria Earle Matthews, and Kate D. Chapman. Okay, this is a lot to read. So she was a suffragette, obviously, right? I mean, we already read about some of that. Progressive causes, gendered stereotypes of Black womanhood. When Harper began giving anti-slavery lectures, the first of which took place in 1854, her gender attracted attention. The challenges she faced were not limited to racial prejudices, for in those days, Black women who spoke publicly about racial issues were still few in number, and scientific racism was deeply intertwined with scientific sexism. It was taken by some as confirmation of gendered stereotypes about the differences between Black women and white women. As in the scientific thinking of the day, Black women were cast as a Jezebel type, governed almost entirely by her libido, drawing a stark contrast with the 19th century ideal of sexually pure white femininity. Okay. That deserves some unpacking, which we're not going to do today, but I mean, all of this does, but I'm not going to I started late, and I can go until 12:30, but at 12:30 I have another stream I need to do. Oh, portrait by the Boston Globe. Nice. And also this is just way too much. This deserves its own video. Like, you know what I mean? All right, let's go into personal life. Personal life, and then we'll do our quote. And we are at 11:39 right now, so that's good. In 1860, Frances Watkins married a widower named Fenton Harper. The couple had a daughter together named Mary Frances Harper, and 3 other children from Fenton Harper's previous marriage. When Fenton Harper died 4 years later, oh my goodness, wow, Frances Harper kept custody of Mary and moved to the East Coast. What about the other kids? I need to know what happened to those other children. The 2 would continue to live there for the rest of their lives. While on the East Coast, Harper continued to give lectures to support herself. Frances Ellen Watkins Harper died of heart failure on February 22, 1911 at the age of 85. Her funeral service was held at the First Unitarian Church on Chestnut Street in Philadelphia. She was buried in Eden Cemetery in Collingdale, Pennsylvania, next to her daughter, Mary. Let's just click in to see what happened to those other kids, because I'm curious. All right, the hidden story of 2 African American women looking out from the pages of a 19th century book. Okay, well, good thing Wikipedia gives you little, footnotes you can look into. Okay. She has a lot of legacy and honors. Clearly. Look at this. Numerous African American women's service clubs are named in her honor. A historical marker was installed to commemorate her by her home in Philadelphia. An honors dormitory was named for her and Harriet Tubman at Morgan State University in Baltimore, Maryland. It is commonly referred to as Harper Tubman, or simply Harper. An excerpt from her poem Bury Me in a Free Land is inscribed on a wall of the Contemplative Court, a space for reflection in the Smithsonian's National Museum of African American History and Culture. The excerpt reads, I ask no monument, proud and high to arrest the gaze of the passers-by. All that my yearning spirit craves is bury me not in a land of slaves. Ooh. Good poetry. Her poem, Bury Me in a Free Land, was recited in Ava DuVernay's film August 28th, A Day in the Life of a People, which debuted at the 2016 opening of the Smithsonian's National Museum of African American History and Culture. In 2018, Harper was inducted into the National Abolition Hall of Fame in Peterborough, New York. I mean, they could have put in like, hey, she was the first person to not get up in a public transportation vehicle before, almost 100 years before Rosa Parks did it, and all those other things that she's done. Okay. Selected works. These are her selected works. And Lola Leroy is the one. I think a few other ones also have Gothic elements in them. I would assume so. I could be wrong, but just based on the time, the time of this, I think that makes sense. But just to read a little bit, I will read the AI overview. I think I may have read this before, I'm not sure, but I will read it again. Frances Harper is associated with the Gothic because her work, particularly Lola Leroy, is analyzed within the context of the Imperial Gothic and Gothic passages, which explore themes of race, identity, and confinement. Her novel, Lola Leroy, features tropes of the Imperial Gothic such as blurred identity and threats of disease, while her work overall engages with Gothic discourse through its portrayal of racial ambiguity and the psychological and physical imprisonment of African Americans. Gothic elements in Harper's work include, Imperial Gothic. Her novel, Lola Leroy, is studied as an example of the Imperial Gothic because it uses classic Gothic tropes within a narrative of American imperialism. It explores the concept of a viral threat to the body, quote unquote, in a way that mirrors nationalistic concerns about the white body politic. The novel uses other Gothic tropes, such as blurred identity, capitalism. I'm fascinated by that term, blurred identity. Capitalism and the failure of defense mechanisms to address the effects of imperialism on the American body politic. Racial ambiguity in Gothic passages. Scholars analyze Harper's work in the context of racial ambiguity and the American Gothic, connecting it to the rhetoric of racial difference and the Gothic's language of confinement. Her work is placed alongside authors like Edgar Allan Poe and Herman Melville as sources for understanding the pervasive role of Gothic discourse in representing the quote-unquote passing phenomenon and formation of identity in the 19th century. The psychological and physical experiences of characters like those in Lola Leroy can be understood through the lens of confinement, making them relevant to a broader understanding of American Gothic literature. Darkness and confinement. These are all Gothic elements in Harper's work. Darkness and confinement. In case you're new here, in case you just came. The dark passageways, quote unquote, and quote unquote imprisoned heroines are common Gothic staples that can be seen in the narratives of racial oppression and restricted opportunities experienced by African Americans in Harper's time, which she portrayed in her writing. So I just want to tap in here to what is the Imperial Gothic. The Imperial Gothic, a new form of fiction in the 18th century. The term Imperial Gothic refers to the late 19th century fiction set within the British Empire. Within Imperial Gothic, oh, this is complicated. Like, there's a lot going on here. There's so much to tap into here. Let's just go here. Let's go back. Victorian Persistence WordPress. Imperialism and Imperial Gothic. Imperialism and occultism both functioned as ersatz religions, but their fusion in Imperial Gothic represents, we won't read the whole thing, I promise. But their fusion in Imperial Gothic represents something different from a search for new faiths. The patterns of avatism, I don't know what that is, and going native described, okay, I do know what that is. Described by imperialist romancers do not offer the salvationist answers for seekers after religious truth. They offer instead insistent images of decline and fall of civilization turning into its opposite. Okay. All right. I think I'm understanding this a little more. So Imperial Gothic is, yeah, it's offer instead insistent images of decline and fall of civilization, like going native stuff, you know, like that whole trope, racist trope. Okay. And then like the danger and Gothic and horror elements that, you know, they put into that, you know, which is all colonialism, imperialism connected, you know, eugenic connected and racism. Okay. Man, you know, if I hope this is giving you a good little oversight of Frances. I literally just drew, this was my first introduction to her, so I hope that I did okay. Let's do a quote by her, because that is what we're here for. We're here for art, but we're also here to hang out and learn about people, and she's fascinating. And I'm really glad that I decided to do this chat, to do my chat. This isn't a chat. This is an art live stream. I'm sorry. I'm really excited. I'm glad when I learned about the racism stuff in Florence's writing, I was just like, we're moving on. We're moving on. We're not doing her. Yeah. So I'm very glad that we are now. I'm glad that we moved on. I'm glad I signed in late today because now we're learning about Frances. And that's all I want, is to give these artists, these writers and artists, a platform that they didn't usually have, or they haven't had. I can't find my words, I'm sorry. Okay, let's look at our iPad here. We're going to find a quote. The quotes that I liked for today are... Where is it? I think I'm going to do the one with the phrenology head idea that I had. I talked about it earlier in this live. There was one quote that she has here on quotations by women. Oh, by the way, everything that I have been reading today, I will put links to everything in the description when this is done. I changed the title of this live, but I didn't change the description. So there's likely to still be well, likely to, there's obviously, the information in the description is still pointing to Florence Marriott. So I'm going to change that when we're done. Okay, I'm going to do He is not dead, he only left a precious robe of clay behind to draw a robe of love and light around his disembodied mind. Okay, that's a poem that she wrote. It's an obituary for J. Edwards Barnes. That's a beautiful poem. I want to draw a phlebotomy head. You know what I'm talking about? I'm going to show you. Let's look at what it is. Let's look at a phlebotomy head. Okay, first, and please bear with me, I'm sorry that I have to do this I'm sorry I have to do so much here today, because I did not know until 10 minutes before I started that I was gonna be doing, you know, somebody else. But I'm really glad that I switched. And I apologize to anybody who came on looking for Florence Marriott, who was our day 26. I had to make a last minute change because I found racist content, and zero tolerance policy for that here. So instead we are doing Frances Harper, who was an African-American woman, writer, poet, suffragist, and many other things. We just went over a lot of it, and now we're going to do one of her pieces in an illustration. What is the phrenology? Is it phrenology? Head, I think. Okay, let's see. Yeah, see, like these images. Okay. You know, like these heads. I think that would be a cool idea to do like a phrenology head. With her quote in it, or her poem in it rather. But like, I think I want a side view. Something like, you know, like this. All right, I'm just gonna pick one, I guess, because let me just do a quick little snap. Do a quick little screenshot, and then I'll just go into my photos and I can reference both. I can reference everything I need in the photos. Okay. In a minute. It takes a minute for them to get in there. Okay, good. So we have our poem. He's not dead, he only left a precious robe of clay behind to draw a robe of love and light around his disembodied mind. Gosh, she has great, what's the word I'm looking for? I don't know the word I'm looking for. Her. Okay, I have another idea. I have another idea. To further honor her, I want to look at her picture. So let's look at Frances Harper. And then we'll look at photos, okay? Because I just want images. And she's beautiful. Beautiful woman. Okay, let's see. Because I was thinking maybe somehow I could integrate her as well. I'm just thinking. I'm taking a minute. Sorry for the quiet. I hope the music is helping because I'm thinking in public today. Yeah. Okay. I'm also gonna do a little screenshot here. And then I can just go back into my photos and have, because I just realized with these phrenology heads, I mean, you can't tell the race, but they're clearly like more Roman looking with the noses and like the structure. There's no difference. They look like all white people, and I don't think that. I would like to honor, to add some, you know, of her culture into it, you know, instead of all I'm seeing here. Okay, let's see here. Cheers. Let's, before I go in with that, I'm gonna just quickly do a little pencil-y. So I'm gonna do a real light. I need to just tilt my paper a little bit here because sometimes if you're drawing flat, you end up drawing like angled like this. And I've noticed that with my work sometimes. Okay, her head needs to be, or this head rather. Not necessarily her head, it's just a head. But I wanted to make the head a little bit more, gender ambiguous and a little more racial ambiguous, because all of my phrenology heads that I'm seeing here are pretty white looking, so I just want to jaw, and then yeah, ear, here. Just talking to myself, don't mind me. Don't mind me, just talking to myself here. Jawline. That is a strong jaw. And I'm not really going to draw out all the phrenology, Phlebotomy. Wait, phlebotomy is that's blood, right? Phlebotomy is blood. Oh, it's 12 o'clock. Okay. In my parts anyway. Where I am, it's 12 o'clock. And every day I say it, it feels like that part of why I like to do this as a challenge is because when you're like doing stuff on the fly like this, it's not going to be perfect, right? It's not going to be, you know, what it could be in your next iteration. You know, it's an idea and you're fleshing it out. I'm going to just put some stuff down here to tilt my paper, and then I will tilt you too so you can see what I'm doing. But it's going to be better for the art if I tilt it. It's going to be better for the art if I tilt it. It's going to not be, you know. And if I had started this, I probably would have raised the head a little bit, and maybe I'll still raise the head now. We'll see. Let's see what I do here. Maybe I will raise the head. I'm just going in here. Up. Second here. Okay, what was I saying 5 minutes ago before I stopped talking? I was saying that I think I say this every day, or almost every day, but part of what's cool about jumping into something, jumping into a drawing, making some conceptual decisions on the fly, you know what? They're not going to be perfect. You're going to look at it later and be like, oh, I could have done this. I could have done that. I would have done this. I would have done that. You know, whatever. But it's getting the idea out, and it's getting the idea out, and it's having something to work with. Like, if you want to, you can do another one later, you know, let it marinate a little bit. Do another one down the road, and you know, you'll have something, a fresh idea, you know what I mean? an idea, a concept that you can really like, that you can really sink your teeth into more, you know, and like your first one can be like, that was the first iteration, and then, you know, but that's kind of like where the ideas jump out for me. I really like to, you know, you've put yourself in a kind of a little bit of an uncomfortable position, and then, you know, even if your first iteration, and you know, it's probably not going to be great, but that's okay, because you have a new idea that's really cool to work with, you know, for the future, something you can use, because it could turn into something really cool. And sometimes you just do something right out of the gate that's really cool, you know what I mean? And you're like, wow, I didn't know that was in there, you know. Like I could have, if I didn't start, you know, doing that artwork, then that never would have come out, you know. I never would have created this. So in the phrenology, can I say the word? Can I say the word phrenology? It says on the bottom part down here, oftentimes there's like a curved line of text that says a picture of good health, and that's where I'm going to put Frances's name. So let us do let's get in there with our quote. He's not dead. He only left a precious robe of clay behind to draw a robe of love and light around his disembodied mind. Okay. Shall I do something really light here with the pencil? He only left a precious robe of clay behind. To draw a robe of love and light. I'm glad I started in pencil because I don't know what's going on here. In terms of spatial, like room for things, and also the angles. Around his disembodied mind. I wonder if this person that she wrote this about died of like had some form of dementia, you know? Disembodied. It kind of sounds like that, you know? I want to thank you too for hanging in with me today with this quick change and, you know, changing gears like that. So I appreciate it. All right, let's see. Frances Ellen Watkins Harper. Watkins. Frances. Just writing on the very bottom here. I'm going to ink all this in a minute. And then we'll be getting going here. I'm angling it. Obituary. For J. Edwards Barnes. Barnes. In National Anti-Slavery Standard. (1858). Okay, great. All right. So I think, so I angled her head. Okay, I just referred to this as her, and I wanted it to be gender ambiguous, but it feels like a her to me. But I'm looking at this more as a gender ambiguous, so we're not gonna, this is not a her. This is a, we're gonna say a man. Let's do that. Maybe that helps a little bit. I don't know. Because the poem is about a man. I think I'm gonna write it with my marker. Or wait a minute. What other pen should I try? Should I use this? Should I use my brush pen? No, my brush pen does not want to. This is really not behaving. Let's Sharpie brush pen. He is not dead. He only left. I'm using the grammar that it uses in the poem. A precious. Hey, Ashish. Hi. He is not dead. He only left. A precious. Robe of clay behind. Do I do custom work? Sometimes. I do custom merch design. You can go to my website. It's in, I think there should be a link in my description. We can talk offline. Thank you. This stream is my Inktober stream, and we are doing an illustrated quote by Frances Harper today. to draw. Yep, you can find me on Instagram. I'm just responding to Ashish. Kathy Weller Art on Instagram. To draw a robe. Let's do like a tattoo looking thing here. Of love. And light. Around. His. Disembodied. Mind. Okay, all right. Let's just add some phrenology looking here. And okay, let's do the name. I'm going to just zoom you down a little bit right here. And I'm going to do it a little bit higher than I originally did because I want to make sure I have enough room in case I need to go a little larger. Ellen Watkins, because I didn't really intend to use this pen, but it does tend to take up more space. Harper. Obituary. J. Edwards. I'm going to do C. I'm glad I did that. In National Anti-Slavery Standard. In I'm just going to do NAT apostrophe L. National Anti Standard. Coming right up. And then we'll put the date, 1858. Let's do like some marks that like this. Show some little bit of detail. Okay. All right. I think we are good for today. I'm just going to fill in a little bit some of these little white spots that yeah, that is definitely more gender ambiguous. I think this could be a male or a female. All right, awesome. I hope you guys enjoyed this today. And thanks for taking this journey with me because, you know, I did have to switch gears really fast. And I like how this came out. This paper is doing that curly thing. Ooh, it's driving me nuts. All right, so here's our finished. And I'm not going to erase it because I don't want to smear any ink. So I will be back shortly. I might take a little bit of extra time before my next stream. I'm going to do a page of my Night Garden Fairy Cats upcoming coloring book. I'm going to ink it in Procreate, and I'm going to do that shortly. So I will be on shortly doing that. I'm going to take a couple minutes, maybe have something really quick to eat and have a glass of water, and then I will be back. And that stream is can I talk today? No. That stream is vertical, so this one's horizontal, that stream is vertical, so I will be showing up vertical in probably about 15 minutes or so, and we will do some more art together this beautiful Sunday. So I hope you're having a great day, and I hope to see you shortly. Okay, I'll be back in about 20 minutes on my iPad. All right, enjoy your day, and I'll see you soon. Bye.